Today, I would like to introduce to you a book I have just read called The Bookseller of Florence by Ross King. This book is the best book I have read to date that describes the arrival of the Age of Aquarius in Europe. The focus of the book is the 15th century and specifically Florence. This book captures that transformation when Pisces, which had been ruling the roost for over 2,000 years, all of a sudden encountered Aquarius. The new Aquarius age arrived in 1433. In this book, we see the beginning of this interplay between Pisces and Aquarius. Within 10 years of the arrival of the age of Aquarius in 1433, Gutenberg invented his printing press. The printing press that he invented was a first for Europe, and though it could be argued that the Chinese had some centuries beforehand done something the same, but using their particular script. Nevertheless, whatever the Chinese may have been doing with their block printing, it didn't affect the Europeans, and it was Gutenberg's printing press that transformed Western society, because printed books offered not only much cheaper books, but also a huge number of quantity of books. Until the invention of the printing press, books were hand copied, mainly in abbeys and monasteries in Europe. The focus on this book is on a particular bookseller called Vespasiano da Basticci, though I cannot guarantee my Italian pronunciation is correct. I will call him Vespasiano from now on, and he was born in 1422, only 11 years before the arrival of the exact year for the age of Aquarius, and he is known as the king of the world's booksellers. He produced exquisite copies, and these are hand copies where there's gilded letters, there's illustrations, there's gold and silver ornamentation, and every word and every letter is painstakingly handwritten by the copyists. But even though he was using the age-old system of copying and rejected Gutenberg's printing press, he still accomplished the same as what Gutenberg inadvertently had completed, and that is the transmission of knowledge. And this is where Aquarius is drawn into the fray. The printing press and the 15th century outside of the printing press with the likes of Vespasiano promoted the transmission of ideas, mainly from the ancient philosophers and scientists and writers such as Plato, Aristotle, Cicero, Quintilian, Pliny, the Greek classics, works on medicines, law, architecture, astronomy, and so on. This infusion of intellectual knowledge changed the atmosphere in Europe completely. And one of the first influences, or one of the first developments that occurred due to this publication revolution and revolution of ideas, was the establishment of the Protestant religions. Martin Luther, a German, commenced the Protestant Revolution and published and printed his philosophy on religion, which went far and wide through Europe. Now, most people would think, well, what's a new religion got to do with Aquarius? Because religions usually are more related to Sagittarius and Pisces. Certainly, Christianity can be linked to Pisces, specifically Pisces and Scorpio, and Islam can be connected to Pisces, specifically Pisces and Cancer. And it seems also that Buddhism can be related to Pisces, but also in that case, Pisces and Aquarius. And maybe the Aquarius element of Buddhism explains why it is a growing popular movement today. But nevertheless, the new push towards Protestant religions actually exemplified the appearance of Aquarius because the new Protestant religions were not top-down heavy. The Roman Catholic Church had the Pope at the top that was really the equivalent of a Caesar. Then you had the College of Cardinals, which is really just the equivalent of the Roman Senate. And in many ways, the Roman Catholic Church just mimicked the old Roman government. But the Protestants were different. They were more democratic. Protestant religion made its way to America and greatly influenced the development of the democratic tradition that was established in the United States. The printing revolution re-intellectualized Europe, and that's its major Aquarius input. Now, back in the 15th century, astrology was not ostracized from the academic community like it is today. It was part and parcel of everything else, such as mathematics, history, science, medicine. Astrology was just another area of interest. And it should be noted that Ross King, in his book, The Bookseller of Florence, does refer towards the end of the book to the grand conjunction of 1484. Now, the grand conjunction of 1484 was the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Scorpio. Due to the fact that astrologers have not understood the astrological ages, they have generally pounced on the Jupiter-Saturn cycle as if it's the equivalent of the astrological ages. It's been very popular for 2,000 years, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions. And Marsilio Ficino, a famous Italian polymath and also an astrologer, who incidentally was born in the exact year that the age of Aquarius arrived, in 1433. Now, he was influenced by this grand conjunction, and he believed that this grand conjunction would inaugurate a Christian golden age. Pisces. And this is a good example of how Pisces is the strongest sign in the world since the arrival of the age of Aquarius. Now, this conjunction was seen as prophetic. However, nothing really happened. The best that happened was some father of five from Bologna proclaimed himself, God's new mouthpiece to the world or something like that, made it to the altar of St. Peter's, had an audience with the Pope, and that was about it. It was a bit of a fizzle. It could be argued that Florence really was the first port of call of the age of Aquarius when it arrived in 1433. After reading The Bookseller of Florence, I would have to agree. And if you really want to see the age of Aquarius in action, also under the shadow of the mighty power of Pisces, then Ross King's book is actually excellent if you are authentically interested in history and the astrological ages. I hope I've encouraged you to read Ross King's The Bookseller of Florence. I was certainly enchanted with chapter after chapter of really reading in real time the creaking arrival of a new age, and as it encounters the strength of the former age. And this is always the case. For the whole of the age of Aquarius, Pisces is at least equally strong to Aquarius. And in the first half, which we're in now, I would argue that Pisces is stronger than Aquarius. If you want to wait and see what Aquarius looks like at its peak strength, you're going to have to wait until the arrival of the next age, the Capricorn age, because once the Capricorn age arrives, the age of Aquarius will reach its fruition and overflow onto the Capricorn age, and it will be stronger than Capricorn. We do actually get a preview to this. People don't realize that each age begins with a preview of the following age. For instance, when the age of Aquarius began in 1433, the first subage it encountered was the Capricorn subage. But the Capricorn subage is the same sign as the next age. Similarly, if we go back to the beginning of the age of Pisces in the 8th century BC, it commenced with an Aquarius subage. And you can go back and see that This is why ancient Greece is called the cradle of Western democracy, because under that Aquarius subage, that's when they experimented with democracy, mainly in Athens. And this is an interesting facet, that every age commences with a sub-age of the sign of the next age the world will encounter. I hope you enjoy this book. If you do decide to go and read it, I will be on the lookout for similar books.